So a new story out about Breonna Taylor. She, of course, was killed in Kentucky. She had done nothing wrong. There was a no-knock warrant. They broke down her door with a battering ram. Her boyfriend had no idea who was at the door. And since they had not heard any identification, he thought it was intruders, fired a shot. Police fired 20 shots back, including one of the officers who was fired for shooting blindly. Some of his shots went into the neighbor's apartment, and the neighbor had a young baby as well. Luckily, the baby and the neighbor were not hit, but Breonna Taylor was hit and killed. So the latest development in that story is that it turns out Breonna Taylor was alive for 5 to 6 minutes, and they got her no help. So in fact, in a best case scenario, according to the new reports, the police did not attend to her for 20 minutes. And according to some of the timing on the police reports, it looks like they might not have called in for assistance for Breonna Taylor until past 30 minutes from when she was shot. So there's one other factor here, or two other factors. One is that in that exchange, one of the officers was shot in the leg. So they removed him from the premises and attended to him. That is perfectly understandable. But at the same time, they wanted Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend, to come out, which is also understandable. And meanwhile, he thinks it's intruders. So he's calling 911, he's yelling for help. While Breonna was apparently still alive, he even called her mom. So the whole time he's yelling, please help, and she's still breathing. And we've covered a lot of these stories where the police refuse to help someone they have just shot because they think, nope, we've been trained, do not take any chances at all. So in a sense, I've seen worse stories where the guy, they stand over his body, he's clearly dead. In a story we recently covered where the guy was shot in the back, they stepped all over him and would not get him help. In another story in California where they shot a guy in his grandmother's backyard. As you watch the tape, we were literally screaming in the studio, and you at home were probably screaming, just please call an ambulance, get him some help. You saw with George Floyd, he clearly passes out. And for 4 minutes, Officer Chauvin continues to have his knee on his neck. In this case, you've got Kenneth Walker yelling, please help, calling 911 so they know somebody is in distress inside the building. It's not like the criminals don't call 911. And apparently she was alive and they might have been able to save her. They just chose not to go inside. And she bled out there and died on the floor. There's one other aspect to this story, but these stories are sometimes too heartbreaking to talk about and contemplate. But we've got to stop teaching the cops to not care about other people's lives. We're to teach them the only thing to care about is your own life and health. And if somebody's bleeding out, who cares? Don't even take 1% chance with your own life.
I think it goes even beyond that. It's not care about anybody else but your own life and health as a police officer. I got to make it home to my family. But it's also make sure you don't get caught up. Make sure you don't have any responsibility held over your head because of it. You stood, I believe you stood yesterday, maybe the day before, about the woman who apparently I think was on a DUI thing. She wasn't cooperating, and so the officer slammed her on the ground against her car. And afterwards, when another officer came over, was not involved, was not there, but decided to call in and say, and literally said it's the CYA defense. So we're just gonna go ahead and put it down as a CYA just to cover everybody. They said it. So whenever you hear Cenk always talk about these people keep employing this CYA defense, and you go, Cenk, you don't know, you're not really in the force. Stop making things up. They said it. They said it. Yes, and I know it's a different police force, but when you see the similar kind of reactions, like the busting through the front door of the wrong house and shooting it up, didn't just happen. This isn't the first time. This isn't a wild, weird occurrence that we've never seen happen. This is a normal police procedure that they do. So afterwards, hey, helping someone who's dying on the ground, well, first of all, it means the person might survive and they can talk. That's the first problem. And we know what they do with body cams. They turn those off so no one knows the real story. Number two, it also means immediately if you shoot someone and you go, we got to get help, you're automatically presuming that you were at fault. That's the number two thing the cop can't do. Oh, my fault. I came in the wrong house. We put together a search warrant and a no-knock warrant on a place we should not have. You cannot actually admit wrongdoing because then what? You got lawsuits. You got people coming after you. We have to make sure we cover ourselves in every way possible. That's why they let people die.
Yeah, so two more parts of the story, including one that's a CYA. Breonna Taylor apparently alive for 5 to 6 minutes, no help. Kenneth Walker, her boyfriend, the police get him 15 minutes in, okay? So now they got absolutely no excuse. Kenneth Walker's out of the building, there's no threat at all. Now at that point, Breonna had already died, but they don't know that. They know there's a person bleeding on the floor, but they still don't attend to her for another 5 to 15 minutes after Kenneth Walker is out of the apartment. There's just absolutely no excuse for it. They know that somebody might be dying on the floor. Kenneth Walker's saying she's dying, she's on the floor. She's shot, get her some help. Nope, no. We don't care about you. Your life doesn't matter. My cop's life matters 1,000,000,000%. Your life, 0%. And so now we get to the CYA. So a deputy fills out the death certificate. That deputy is not trained in reading autopsies, so by definition has no idea what they're doing, and says in the death certificate, Breonna Taylor likely would have died anyway, even if we'd gotten to her within 1 minute. What did you base that on any medical opinion? No. Yeah, just cover your ass, CYA. So yeah, she probably would have died anyway, so who cares? And then you protest, then you're bothered when people say Black Lives Matter?
Exactly. Cenk, it's exactly where I was going next. So imagine that you're Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, and you go through this whole thing. They also disparage your character. They charge him because he shot back, because apparently in America you can't do that as long as you're not the right kind of person to do something like that. They were looking to destroy him as well because he survived. So we got to make sure he doesn't have a voice, or make sure that his voice, whatever it is going to not be accepted by the public. So imagine that trauma. We heard him on the 911 call, how traumatic that was for him. Imagine then begging. You said he was begging for the people who were in the process of murdering his girlfriend for help from them. They shoot your house up and you're like, please, someone help me. Can you guys help me? You can't ask the guy who just stood over and shot up your whole house to help you. His job was to come and shoot up your house. So after that, if he comes forward, Kenneth Walker comes forward and is like, F the police, pigs, whatever, can't stand them, defund them, get rid of them. If he comes out saying all that, you know what they're gonna say about him? How dare he go against our brave law enforcement? You expect him to go through that trauma and then say, hey, I like you guys. Hey, this is great. Hey, can you do it again? Hey, I might maybe recover at some point in my life from this traumatic situation, might move on. And after that, I'm supposed to be fine with what happened to me? There's this disconnect from the humanity of Black folks and minorities in this country in general. This harkens back, we talked about it earlier in the show, how slavery has carried the energies of it down through generations. We didn't consider Black folks humans. We're treating Black folks like they're not humans to this day. I don't care how much you're gonna talk about how long it's been, the energy still lives. You can't, how is it you do this to a person and then not expect them to react like you would? It's because you don't think they're on the same level as you are.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.